Stop the cap.
I'm over here listening to Passport OG and his hour-long video review of Roland Martin. And I mean, if that doesn't just reinforce what we've been discussing, what we already know, I mean, the gaslighting is just crazy, which shows you just how broken the political system is and how the political system, the Democrats in particular, because that's what we're dealing with. Republicans got their own shit going on because they do the same thing, even with their own white constituency. But like when they, even white people are struggling economically, and they're still up there talking about my bootstraps and personal responsibility. And when it comes to the Democrats, same thing, but just as applies to black men. To sit there and watch Roland Martin, that on any other day of the week, black men are the boogeyman, black men are the problem. He didn't do nothing. We got all these issues, going on. Then he wants to throw the question at the brothers on the panel. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the brothers on the panel because I think, the light-skinned bald dude, he kind of got into it a little bit later, but it was piss poor representation of black men that can speak to what black men's issues are. This is one of the reasons why educated lames are, fail, and why, educated lames are not desirable. You get an opportunity to go up there and say what your issues are. I mean, personally, I think, that brother, the dark-skinned brother that was also bald-headed, he just wanted to be seen. You know what I mean? Like, all you can say is prison to, school to prison pipeline. That's all you can say. At least the bald-headed, light-skinned dude, brought up, access to capital. I mean, the conversation starts and ends with gainful employment. I mean, if we're not talking about reparations, it's gainful employment and access to capital. I can't even say, whether going to college anymore, is a marker. I mean, while black women brag about, their academic achievements, black women are the largest holders of student loan debt. So a lot of people are going to college, getting these degrees, and then they come out, and then you got these companies playing all these games, with filters with AI. You have to use resumes to pump out, AI. You have ghost jobs. You have companies that lowball people. Oh, you just graduated college. Oh, here's $40,000 that you can't even pay your student loan back, and rent a one-bedroom apartment. So you can't even move out of your people's spot. So I can't even, unless you're going to college for something specific, unless you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or something like that, I would suggest something else. Doesn't even have to be the trades. You got people making money on social media now. With AI, there's a lot of doors. There's a lot of doors that are opening that people they can't even see, because, it's going to take a creative mind in order to capitalize on a lot of these AI tools. But I mean, I don't know what society we're heading towards where, there's no more of the, big corporation, men being gainfully employed, whole neighborhoods built because, people are men are gainfully employed, taking care of their families. And what was I going to say about them? Like this idea that people are either going to mom and pop it, to death, or that everybody's just going to freelance it to death. I get tired of the people that sit there and they say that they want America to be and look a certain way, and they want to make America great again and go back to the, 1950s. But when it comes to, people actually having money in their pockets to be able to spend, you have a capitalist society, and yet you don't want to pay people so that they can engage in the consumerism that feeds capital. It's just the dumbest shit in the world, I mean, it's just globalism gone too far. Just gone. Yeah, we can make everything cheap overseas for next to nothing, and you're not paying anybody here. There's no jobs here, and so people cannot afford. Doesn't matter how cheap you're making shit in China, they can't afford it to purchase it when you bring it back, when you import it back tariff free. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. I'm saying, um, and this goes right back into the Kimberly Crenshaw video that I just posted. And like I said in that video, uh, well, I'll start with Roland Martin and then I'll get back into, well, let me start with Kimberly Crenshaw and then I'll get into Roland Martin. Like I said, with Kimberly Crenshaw, and this is one of my frustrations with black women in particular, because they want to be awesome and the ultimate victims at the exact same time. And so we have to hear about, and Roland is doing it on, oh, black women are getting more degrees and they're going to college and they're this and that and they're, leaping over black men in a single bound and they're doing laps around the rings of Saturn and they're going to the moon and back and all this other bullshit, right? They say all that, which means, right, black men are behind, right? Black men are the pariah, we're the scapegoat, we're the boogeyman, right? He didn't do nothing, right? Black men, all they in jail. All black men, oh, they not being fathers. All black men are everything dysfunctional that you can fucking say. I mean, you might as well just take, the freaking canned responses from, white supremacist racists and then just give it to black women or give it to Roland Martin and then just let them, just hurl insults at black men, right? That's what it is, right? But then Roland Martin gets up there and asks these brothers, well, what is it that black men need? Like he doesn't fucking know. Like he doesn't fucking know. In other words, how can we be the most dysfunctional group, right? And this has been one of my huge pet peeves, when it comes to these conversations with black women, where they're doing so awesome. The women, oh, they're kicking black men's ass all over the place. They're balling out of control. They got more money and resources and careers than anybody in the entire world, right? But then when we get into relationship, marriage, oh, it's because black men are, oh, they're just beneath us, and ain't nobody on my level, and oh, they're just so sad. They're just so sad, and they're just so beneath us, and that's why black women are single, right? Even though 61% of black women, are mothers, with excuse me, let me say it properly, have ever had a child, with only 46% of black men ever having a child, and black women outnumber black men by 2 million. So you have a higher percentage of a larger number. But, that never comes up. So, while black women are, not married, they damn sure got a bunch of kids. Damn sure got a bunch of kids. Oh, we're not getting married. That doesn't stop y'all from having kids. But, all of that will be blamed on, woe is the black man. And then Roland Martin's going to sit up there and act like, well, what do y'all brothers, what do y'all need? I don't get it. Let's go through the list of black politicians like that has anything to do with, the grassroots and what brothers are going through every day, which is everything that black women complain about when they bitch about, oh, they can't find a man. Right? You want to talk about, black boys not reading it at grade level, and understand that not being able to read at grade level is not the same as being functionally illiterate. Those are two different things. I see people acting like they're the same thing. They're not the same thing. I think it's only something like 20% of black men that are functionally illiterate. Functionally illiterate, meaning like the type of person, if you hand them a document to read, usually they'll fold it and immediately put it in their pocket because they can't read it. Men can read, they just can't read it like, if you give them a research paper, they can't read it. Or if you, if you're not reading, you're not writing, you're not typing. These are the people that struggle to type stuff up on a keyboard. They can't think that fast and write that fast and read that fast. So That's where it becomes um, an issue. But to sit there and have it to where black men, all of black men's problems, right? Because you throw black men under the bus every day. But then when it comes to what black men actually need, I don't know. I don't know. Now all of a sudden you're scratching your head. And those two brothers that were up there, you had the dark skinned dude and you got bald head dude and you got a light skinned dude. And then you had a black woman and she was just up there just babbling, just I mean, did you pluck her out of the back of the church? And personally, I already know it was bullshit because Roland Martin's show, and Roland Martin went up there and got a bunch of people to debate him that he knew that he had more information around than or could walk circles around. That's what he did. He's not going to talk to. I said this in my previous videos. They don't do this anymore. They're not going to talk to the Dr. Claude Andersons. Hell, they're not even going to talk to what's his name? Grandmaster Jay. Because I don't know if y'all ever sat down and watched that Grandmaster Jay interview with Jesse Lee Peterson. He gobbled Jesse Lee Peterson the fuck up. Gobbled him up. Roland Martin's not going to have that conversation. Like what's going on right now. He ain't going to call up freaking Umar Johnson, right? We all know what happened the last time he had a conversation with Umar Johnson, right? When he was on, what was that, News One, right? He's not going to talk to, hell, even Ice Cube with Contract Black America, right? He's not going to talk to these people. Most certainly not going to talk to Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, right? Because they don't want any of this stuff to be brought to light and talked about in any sort of intelligent manner. I mean, the light-skinned dude, he actually, towards the end, he started bringing, he brought up, the relevant stuff, right? Gainful employment, access to capital, putting food on the table, cost of living, right? Housing, all that stuff, right? We can get into, skills and trades and all that stuff, right? I mean, if we're not talking reparations, the conversation starts with black men being gainfully employed. The freaking whole, go to college, all that shit is a delay tactic. I'm not, you got on the job training, people have been talking about this for the last couple of years about how most of this, it's about work experience and on the job training because the universities are way too slow. And now with the advent, of AI, the whole game has changed. The whole game has changed. So, I mean, that was egregious. I mean, just egregious. And like I said, the brothers that were up there, the light skinned dude, I'm gonna give him, because he actually did touch on what needed to be said. But the dark skinned dude, like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? The only thing you can come up is the school to prison pipeline. That's the only thing that you could say. Then you started talking about feelings and emotions and nigga, get off the stage, yo. Just get off the stage. And you're supposed to represent an educated brother, and you don't have any sense. See, that's when a brother is so educated that they're so high up on the mountaintop, that they're like the women, the feminists that are in academia and whatnot, the ones that don't touch grass, that just sit around and pontificate and theorize. You know what I mean? Like that shit was painful to watch. I'm like, you money, motherfucker. It's about the goddamn money. It's about fucking jobs. It's about this bullshit that we have in our community where black men are charged or measured by patriarchal standards that feminists say, shouldn't exist because it's girl power and we're heading towards, this egalitarian fucking society, even though women still want to date up and date hypergamously. Like I said with the, Kimberly Crenshaw, some black women they want to be feminist, and other black women, they're on sprinkle, and they want to be kept women, and, like I said, I think it has to do with black women's profound inferiority complex that nobody talks about. It's like I had that conversation, with the sister that actually gave me the link to the Kimberly Crenshaw, interview. She was giving me a whole bunch of pushback, but I got to a point where she couldn't deny what I was saying. I was like, we were talking about women and getting their education. And I'm bringing up the point about black women's inferiority complex because their beauty is not recognized, and how, they really don't want white supremacy to be taken down. What they want is they want white supremacy to value black women in the way that they value white women, and somehow put black women on equal level as white women and promote them and validate them and their beauty. And they're not going to do that. That's not their job to do that. And black women don't understand that the only way that you even remotely get anything like that is black men have to be ahead. They have to be ahead. They have to have a patriarchy. There's a whole reward system that exists that needs to exist there, and it doesn't exist in the black community. Going back to what OG Passport or Passport OG said in the video, where it's like these guys are not going to come back to the community. The community literally has nothing to offer. And it's so bad with not having anything to offer that you can't even the community refuses to even articulate that black boys need what they need, right? Need access to resources, need access to capital, right? Need access to economic opportunities. Going to college, that really doesn't mean anything when at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and beg another race of man for an economic opportunity. You got to beg other groups for a job, because the black older men in the community, they don't control the opportunities. I said this years ago. You cannot, what did I say? You can't sell a dream that you don't own. Meaning you don't own the economic opportunities. So why are you telling young men to go to college, get an education, put themselves in hundreds of $1,000s in debt, and you're not the one that can give them a job? That's financially crippling, young black men out the gate. See, it's a jobs issue now. It's a careers issue now. It's economic stability and long-term viability issue now, because all this crap where you gotta change jobs every 2 years, like the fuck, just so you can get a promotion. The fuck is that? You're not gonna get any family stability out of that shit. You're not going to get thriving communities out of that. And as long as you don't have that, as long as you don't have an environment where black women who want all this validation that they see white women getting, even though white women supposedly are oppressed, you're not going to get that when your men are not associated and affiliated with the success that they have built and established in their community. And the truth is majority of black women don't want that. They don't want that. They're feminists to varying degrees. Mileage may vary. You have the extreme, and you have the mild. But it's only a minority of black women that want to really be a quote unquote stay at home wife, or have a minimal job that kind of assist her husband, like a 70-30 type of situation. Because their identity, the whole way that they view themselves is rooted in being these strong, independent black women that go off and, get degrees in the humanities. There ain't a black woman online in these intellectual spaces that has majored in any hard sciences. Freaking for Harriet, African American studies, Aisha K. Faines. What was she? What is it? Eastern civilizations and languages or something like that. And these are the Ivy League schools these women went to. I'm like, damn, not even business administration, nothing direct finance. You know what I'm saying? Things directly tied to the capital that they turned around and tried to get through YouTube means. Like these women are not thinking economically about their future. No, this university shit for many black women, and there was a black woman who wrote an article about this, is about prestige, about the prestige. Because black women like Margot Jefferson said they feel devalued and underappreciated, right? And so again, listening to Kimberly Crenshaw and the end of that intersectionality speech that she gave from 8 years ago, and talking about black women being killed by police, right? Even though I looked at numbers between, I think it was like 2015. What was it? No. It was like, I want to say it was like 2019 and 2021. 50 black women were killed by police. You know how many black men were killed by police in that same time period? 1,300. But yet, say her name. Say her name. Say her name is what the focus is. So it's like every time we have a conversation, it's either we're going to talk about how awesome black women are and how they're blowing black men out of the water, or when we're talking in the negative, then we're not going to talk about the ways in which black men are disenfranchised. We're going to talk about the ways in which black women are bigger victims and how black women feel that they're being ignored, despite the fact that numerically the numbers do not bear out that they're bigger victims in certain areas. Like example, I can sit there and say that the domestic violence rates between black men and black women are pretty much the same. However, when it comes to fatal domestic violence incidences, that's pretty much a black woman issue. Most black men don't die even when a black woman is being domestically violent against them. So should I be sitting there saying, say his name, say his name, say his name? Should I be up there saying that? No, because I would be dumb to do that. But that's exactly what black women do in these conversations. Okay? If you want to talk about black men, getting their flowers, being acknowledged, black women don't want to acknowledge that because that creates hierarchies, right? That's all that you're bringing sand to my beach bullshit, right? But then when we go over and we talk about, the negative things that are affected the community, then it turns into, what about the girls? Kimberly Crenshaw in that video literally said, what about the girls? What about the girls? I looked at the stats on black boys and black girls getting suspended. And what I found was 20% of black boys are suspended or get suspended, and 12% of black girls, get suspended. So a little over half. It's a little over half. Okay. Relative to boys. So boys get, all boys get suspended at almost 2 times the rate compared to black women. But you know what Kimberly Crenshaw did? She went into the rate relative to white girls. And you know why? That's such a trick bag, because the number of girls overall who get suspended is low. It's low. This goes back to my Antarctica analogy. There's 2 couples in Antarctica. One of the couples is in a domestically violent relationship. One of the black women is in a domestically violent relationship of the 2 couples in Antarctica. And then headlines in the Antarctic newspaper say 50% of black women are victims of domestic violence. There's only 2 couples. There's only 2 fucking couples. You know what I'm saying? Like this is why I said, percentages, when you're talking about percentages, we need whole numbers. What are the whole numbers? Because what people try to do is, again, if I have only 1 or 2 or 4 people, right? I can say, a quarter of black women, like 1 out of 4 is X. But it's only 4. It's only 4. It's 1 out of 4. You know what I mean? And let's say I only have 4 people, not a quarter of a million people, right? If I said, I'm going to give you, 50% of $100 or 50% of $1 million, which one are you going to take? You're going to take 50% of $1 million. Duh. Right? So it's there's just this, it's like, talk about black men's voices not being heard. This goes right back to why black men even came online. You see it? Are you seeing it? I'll put the link in the description box. You see how, again, here you got Roland Martin up there. I mean, he's doing everything in his power to diminish black men's issues. And I'm like, but you're asking for our vote. You're trying to tell us who we should vote for. And yet you're literally going out of your way to diminish what our grievances are. You know, I'm like, man, we're done here. Like we're just done here. I mean, fuck all the talking. You know what I'm saying? Vote with your feet. Vote with your feet. You know, because I mean, they are invested in black women. I mean, they're just invested in black women. And see, the black men are really the worst enemy, because black women can be moved by symbolism and intangibles and shit and all the stuff to gas their head up. Because that's what it really, that whole thing was nothing but a bunch of women stroking. But when it comes to black men are asking about specific tangibles, because that is what men are measured by, which is what the dark-skinned dude was trying to say, but he couldn't articulate the point clear enough. That is what men are measured by. You know, and it's like, I mean, we are really stuck in this fucked up situation. Oh, you all are terrible. You black men are the worst. You're just so bad, right? Okay, you know, we need assistance. Oh, you know, well, if you need assistance, then you all aren't being real men. And then turn around 5 minutes later and then complain about our lack of real manness and what we're not doing. Oh, and let me tell you about how much better the black women are, you know, and doing than you guys. And then you're sitting there like looking at the numbers like, actually, there's more black men that make six figures than black women, right? It's not a huge gap. But I'm saying there's still more. Like, black men are succeeding despite their marginalization. Black women they've been getting all the support, all the leg up in the world. Hence why the rhetoric is black women are killing it and black women are opening more businesses. I mean, even the way that they frame it, even when it's not true. Yes, black women are registering more businesses, but 95% of black businesses that women are registering are sole proprietorships, have no employees, and make less than $24,000 a year. Go compare black women's business numbers to white women's business numbers. It's a fucking joke. It's a joke. The vast majority of wealth generated in the black community through businesses are generated through black men. You know what I mean? Like, black women just go over there, oh, I registered a business. And the whole point of going into business is to make money. It's not to sit there and be like, yeah, you go, girl, and snap your fingers and have a party of black excellence, black female excellence. That's not the fucking point. It's to make money. You know, and the biggest crock of shit when it comes to that, if there's so many black women out here that are making so much money and got all the fucking careers and everything, then why the fuck are your sons unemployed and underemployed? Why the fuck are your sons out there in the streets in Chicago playing shoot 'em up, bang bang? If mom is making all these black women are making six figures and you are in the position to ride around in a fucking G-Wagon, why the fuck is your son on the block then? See, it doesn't make any sense. Why are your sons in jail then? So mom's a CEO and yet your son has got 2 felonies? Make it make sense. He couldn't just go work for mom and then take the money that he has working for mom and then go support a family and provide for a black woman and so that black woman lives a life of leisure based on him working for Ma Dukes? Make it make sense. Y'all bitches don't make no fucking sense. And fucking Roland Martin is just up there pandering to this shit, and y'all eat it up. Y'all feel so good and all this other bullshit, and you're losing your men. I mean, you're losing your men. I mean, I don't know whether to call it betrayal or call it like Like black women just like they're just so easily duped. They're just so easily duped. You know, shit is retarded. It's just retarded. You know, I mean, we knew this. We saw this as black men. We've been talking about this shit for years. You know, and there's a handful of brothers that have been, I mean, really driving the point home and articulating it. You know, I mean, there is a concerted effort to divide the black community up and make it a, you know, we're only going to address and deal with the women because, number one, we don't have to actually really give the women anything. It's just a bunch of symbolism. They're more easily swayed, right? This is the whole thing. Like I was like, even with the woman I was talking about, like we're having this conversation about, you know, women and accountability and all that other stuff. And I'm like, are you the weaker sex or are you not? Because you can't sit there and say that you're like, you get frustrated at the idea that women are the weaker sex, but then, you know, a freaking street dude, all you got to do is whisper a bunch of sweet nothings in your ear, and the next thing you know, you're busting it wide open and you become a single mom. How are you the stronger sex if a dude could come up and whisper a bunch of bullshit in your ear with not a pot to piss in, and next thing you know, you're busting it wide open for him, popping babies out for him? How does that work? How does that work? You know, I just wanted to be like, yo, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You all think you're like more powerful and stronger than you are. Then when you get out there and you get duped and you get suckered and you get manipulated, then you turn around. Oh, the black man didn't protect me. Oh, I'm just a dainty woman. I'm just a demure, fainting Victorian virgin. That's what I am. You know, like, I'm like, really? Now all of it, what happened to all that boss bitch energy? It just went out the fucking window. Like, the shit is just nuts. But I mean, this is egregious to sit there and watch sassy Roland Martin up there. And that's another thing. Like, I should already know better, right? We should already know that Roland Martin is literally the Negro whisperer. He has made a whole freaking career out of being the Negro whisperer for white supremacy. Roland Martin is paid by the DNC to get niggas in line, okay? And when I'm saying niggas, I'm saying all black people, because that's how we're viewed, okay? He is literally paid to serve black people to the Democrat Party. I'm sure Roland Martin walks into a room and says, hey, I got 5 million votes right here because they all love me and they all watch my show. Now cut the check. Okay? And that's what they use. They use these. I mean, I've never seen so many celebrity endorsements this election cycle. Like, it's not even funny. And these people, that get just weird. I mean, Spike Lee is up there talking his bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we gotta get on board. Get on board with what, nigga? Get on board with what? What did they suddenly promise you to allow you to create the movies that they wouldn't let you create before? They suddenly said, hey, we're going to get this little hat over here to allow you to have a deal in Hollywood to make that movie that we wouldn't let you make 15 years ago. If you just go up there and tell, you know, freaking black people that they should support Kamala Harris because you support Kamala Harris. Like, bro, it's just. And what's so sad is I already know there's a bunch of old black people that, you know, there's too many of them that are simple-minded. Don't feel bad. My parents are one of them, you know, or my parents together, you know, are two of them. You know, I mean, that's just how they think. You know, but right now the Democrats they're trying to buy time. If they get in, they're going to try to do, same thing that they've been doing. Okay? We only have black women. Black women are not enough. We needed black men as well, right? Because black people, right, we vote, or historically have voted like 90+% for the Democrat Party. So to have like a growing number of like half of that population not vote Democrat, that's a problem. So now what do they got to do? This is why the Democrats are forming coalitions. So they got black women, then they got LGBTQ, and then they got the Latinos are letting across the border, and then they got other refugees and shit, right? And they're trying to like peel off some Asians, right? Whatever minorities they can peel off. That's what they're trying to do. And black women are just retarded and stupid when it comes to this, because at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like your community, it's like what Umar Johnson said about the Africans. Y'all come on to America and y'all look at black people, African Americans, you say, oh, they've been losing every Super Bowl for, 135 years, whatever the hell he said, right? And then they're like, well, we want to side with the white people. And it's like, yeah, you go and you side with the white people, Africa will never be free. Because Africa, the reason why you're even coming over here is because of neo-colonialism in Africa due to Western powers and also now Asian powers. You know what I mean? You don't ever go up against your own like that. But that's what the Africans are doing. That's what the tether class is doing. And black women the same way. Like they rather form Voltron with the LGBT community, the Latino community, talking all that bullshit, black and brown folk bullshit. You seen how the Mexicans feel about us with that Congress or whatever, the city councilwoman out there in California and talking about black people and monkeys and all that bullshit, right? What are y'all doing? But the thing is I've said this before. A lot of black men's disdain for black women is a reaction. It's a reaction to how we were raised. It's a reaction to the matriarchy. It's a reaction to the bad attitudes. It's a reaction to, women, actively going out there and getting with street dudes and having their baby and then turning around and then complaining and crying about it. And then again, we show the numbers that the over 54%, 54% of black men don't have any damn kids, right? And then the whole just the matriarchal orientation, role reversal, all that shit, shit that black women actively participate in. We want our autonomy, we want a baby, we want the baby, the bag, and none of the patriarchy, all that shit. But yet they still hold us to this patriarchal standard that they don't believe in. So like we're just on this hamster wheel. Like you can't solve it because solving it would be patriarchy. They don't want patriarchy. So then they just keep you in this box where they can constantly complain about you, right? But every time you try to get the necessary tools in order to correct the problem, right, that needs correcting yourself because it's negatively affecting you. But I'm saying, just speaking to their bitching about it as well, I'm like, you can't get, like, it's just all this gaslighting when it comes to actually, it's like, it's like having a car and the car has no gas in it. And you're like, yo, I need to put gas in the car. And she's bitching about the fact that we're late. And it's like, yo, I need I got to walk to the gas station to get a gas tank or to get the gas tank to put the gas in the fucking car. You know what I mean? And it's like, you're trying to figure out how you're going to freaking get to this gas tank, get to the gas station. You don't have a gas tank. So even if you can walk there, you don't have the gas tank to actually get it. Now, maybe the gas station is selling them because they usually do, right? But I'm saying it's that type of dynamic. It's like the flat tire that you can't put air in, and they're over there overinflating the tires that already have air. It's like, bitch, it's this tire. It's this fucking tire. You know what I mean? And again, the whole point is for them not to address the issue, not the women, but the powers that be. They don't want to address that shit. Just like they gaslight on reparations. It's just a bunch of stalling. It's a bunch of gaslighting. And that's what the fuck it is. And they're betting on the fact that, young black people are not organized. They're not serious. And like them brothers on the panel, they're not mad enough. You niggas ain't mad enough. Point blank, period. All that academic speech. Fuck all that academic speech. Motherfucker, it's about the goddamn money. That's what I'm telling you about. Oh, you want to raise your voice? Nigga, I'll raise my voice too. Oh, nigga, you want to stand up? Nigga, I'm going to stand up too. Like that's the type of energy that Roland should have been receiving. Not all that, all y'all chummy and behind the scenes, and then y'all gonna go and have a few drinks after behind the show. Like, no. That shit was a hot fucking mess. And I'm gonna finish. I got like 90% through the video. I think Passport OG was wrapping it up, but I see what he meant when he said it was infuriating, because it was infuriating. But don't be mad. Don't be particularly mad at it, because, you know what I'm saying? When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. When somebody shows you their ass and that they're not going to do anything for you, right? And they're gaslighting and they're bending over backwards to not even acknowledge it. Because acknowledging it is part of having to address it, right? Acknowledging it is the first step. And they don't want to acknowledge it. So this is actually a good thing, because it's becoming so blatant. The gaslighting is so blatant now that anybody running around trying to, we're going to vote for the Democrats. You got to be a goddamn fool. You got to be a goddamn fool at this point. You already went through 8 years of Obama. Then you went through 4 years of Biden. You're going to go through another 4 years of do nothingness? Of do nothing? We already know that Trump doesn't have a plan or whatever. But again, until black people become politically mature and are willing to struggle or suffer, through, like, in other words, you're going to struggle or suffer either way. But you got to be willing to struggle with a purpose. You got to struggle with a purpose. And that purpose is to demonstrate our votes are not for free. Everybody else out here getting tangibles, getting benefits, right? Getting money, getting capital, right? Getting forgivable loans and all this other shit. Everybody else, all the COVID, all the Asian community, they were like, Asian community, what can we do for you? What can we do for you? You know what I mean? And what's so crazy is, this is the group that helped white supremacy undermine themselves, as we've seen with the new statistics about Asian, the Asian population at these Ivy League universities has dropped, even though they thought it was going to have the opposite effect. Oh yes, these lazy black folks, these unqualified black folks getting into these into these Ivy League schools. That's what the problem is. Not these legacy students, whose mommy and daddy, freaking, knows some people and were able to get into the university. Again, go read John F. Kennedy's admission letter. It is the most garbage letter ever. That was his admission letter. Y'all be sitting there talking about your volunteering and, you went to Africa and you worked at a hospital in an orphanage and you did all this shit around the world and whatnot, right? Read John F. Kennedy's admission letter. Anyway, I'm done with this video. I'm done with Roland Martin. I'm done with the Democrat Party. Again, it's not about loyalty to any party. What have you done for me lately? I'm hitting you with the fufu shit. Eddie, what have you done for me lately? Eddie, I want what's coming to me. And black people need to be on some fufu shit when it comes to the Democrat Party. What have you done for me lately? That's all I want to hear. What have you done for me lately? And if you want my vote, what are you going to do for me, in the meantime? If the answer is what I just saw with Roland Martin and all that gaslighting, well, I guess we voting for the couch. With that said, that's my video, SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.